Hello everyone, and welcome to the Critically Endangered DLC speculation, and welcome back to Greyhammer. First of all, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's subscribed in the recent days, because we've gotten a massive increase. We're up to 168 by my count, so really excited about that. But kind of what this pack is it's a continuation of the conservation pack. So it includes monsters from the majestic Sumatran Rhinoceros and the vibrant Panamanian Golden Frog. So we're going to explore these creatures. There's a few animals that I would love to have included, but they're not found in captivity. One of these, in fact, that I am keeping, well, really two of them, is one of them is not found in captivity currently, but it used to be held in captivity. The other one is not found in captivity, but is part of zoo conservation programs and has relatives in captivity. So we're going to kind of get into that, because there's one animal that's missing that probably a lot of people would like to see, but unfortunately don't really have zoo representation. So we'll get into that. The Sumatran Rhinoceros is our flagship species. It was going to be the lowland anoa, but currently they're such an elusive species that there are none in zoos. So unless Planet Zoo wants to say, hey, they found some and have managed to get a breeding population in zoos, doesn't really make sense to include them. So we've got the Sumatran Rhinoceros, which is in a similar boat, very elusive creature, similar habitat to the anoa, but more insular. And then but they used to be kept in the Cincinnati Zoo, I know that much, and right now they're definitely more restricted to wildlife parks and in the wild, with only about 100 individuals scattered across islands. I do believe they are extinct in Sumatra. They're a pretty gentle herbivore, known for their shy and elusive nature. Critically endangered due to habitat loss, poaching, and disease, pushing them to the very edge. And including them in Planet Zoo, we get to raise awareness for this amazing species. They're the last woolly species of rhino, so really cool species. Would bring some diversity in our rhinoceros. We already got 3 species, but the Sumatran rhinoceros, as one of those insular rhinos, is very different than the others, so really cool. So let's get to the next one, the radiated tortoise. And this is really great because it would introduce more variety into the Madagascar habitats. We really only have lemurs in the fossa, which, besides the ring-tailed lemur, which I think should get some biome changes so that they can be in more dry areas. We don't really have a dry area representation for our species in Madagascar, so the radiated tortoises is a relatively small Madagascar tortoise. I mean, bigger than the Hermann's tortoise, but smaller than the African spurred tortoise. But they are one of the longest lived animals, with a record lifespan of 188 years. They have a very unique shell pattern found in the more semi-arid regions of Madagascar. They have habitat loss due to deforestation and human encroachment. And so showcasing them would be great to introducing more wildlife of Madagascar. Currently, the only reptile species that we have that could go in Madagascar is at least that's not exhibit, I'm not sure on exhibits, is the Nile crocodile, and they're not even native, but they are there now. So next one is the Tonkin snub-nosed monkey. This one, as far as I can tell, there's no Tonkin snub-nosed monkeys in zoos. But there's other snub-nosed monkeys found, like the golden snub-nosed. And there's a few zoos, like the Denver Zoo, that are very into conserving this species. There's only 250 of them left in the wild. They're highly social living groups, and they're great climbers. The habitat destruction and hunting for bushmeat is primary threats. One of the big threats is deforestation, because a lot of the people in their native area use wood-fired stoves still. Deforestation's a big problem, but they live in Vietnam with only about 250 left. They're, again, not found in captivity, but I think it would be cool to have some more Vietnamese creatures, some more kind of East Asian animals, and a different monkey species that's very different than the ones we have in the game. I guess it's moderately close to the proboscis monkey, but more mainland creatures. Let's get into the next one with another primate that's very different than what we have in the game, and I could argue that it should go in a walkthrough exhibit, and maybe that's how they'll do it, but the cotton-top tamarin is such a cute little tiny primate. There's over 6,000 of these found in Colombia with very large captive breeding programs. But critically endangered, if you don't know, is based off of the number of population decline. So they are currently a bit on the rise, but they have not been taken off that critically endangered species mark yet. They're a very small primate that could make for some great exhibits, very active. My local zoo has them. They're very social and playful, with habitat destruction and illegal pet trade being major threats to their survival. And showcasing them would be a great way to show how zoos have aided in conservation efforts. Another animal that would be great to include in this kind of slot would be like black-footed ferrets or the California condor, two great conservation success stories. Though I do believe the black-footed ferret is still critically endangered. I'm not sure about the California condor. The next one is actually closely related to the black-footed ferret, and it's the European mink, which I did not know were critically endangered, but they're a semi-aquatic predator similar to the North American mink, well adapted to life near water, but they live in very fragmented populations across Western and Eastern Europe, having some areas in Spain and France, but then like Estonia and sort of Baltic countries as well. Competition from the introduced American mink is really limiting their population's success, and diseases also hurt them, along with the fact that crayfish are getting over fished, and so areas without crayfish are difficult for the European mink to colonize those areas. Mink are really cool, kind of similar to otters, except that they can climb, they can live on land. They need a large land area, a large water area, and a good climbing area, so it would really make interesting exhibits. I love mink, and I think a critically endangered species would be great to raise awareness of smaller endangered species. And in fact, we got another really cool critically endangered species, the Great Indian Bustard. If you've been to a zoo, you've probably seen their larger cousins, the Kori bustards, but the Great Indian Bustard is one of the heaviest flying birds, critically endangered. They're only smaller in bustards than the Great Bustard and the Kori bustard. They are mostly ground-based, but they live in the grasslands of India, known for their impressive wingspan and the ability to fly, though being super heavy. Their habitat loss, hunting, and collisions with power lines are major threats to their survival, with only 150 members remaining in the wild. So really cool species, kind of gives us more grasslands of India, which we don't have too many species in. I've been kind of harping on this in a few episodes. We really only have the brown hyena and tigers incidentally, but they're not like open savanna is not their preferred habitat. So I think it would be great to improve on that kind of habitat in India, because India is it's a subcontinent. It's got a lot of different ecosystems. The next one is one that is another conservation success story, but also really sad about them. The Panamanian Golden Frog. They're only kept in captivity as they've become extinct in the wild. They are from a very localized habitat in Panama. The chytrid, let me know if I'm pronouncing that right, fungus has wiped them out of Panama, but they're very common in breeding programs and zoos because of their vibrant colors, so we actually have quite a few in captivity. They probably will be able to be reintroduced once that fungal issue is resolved, but that's just been an ongoing problem that's stumped researchers. They're a stunning amphibian known for their bright golden color and unique adaptations to life in the rainforest. So we can kind of bring threats to frogs and other amphibians into light with Planet Zoo with this species, because that's a big problem. Frogs and other amphibians are indicator species, meaning that they're a great, because they breathe through their skin and can absorb water from their skin. Any impurities quickly get affect the frogs and amphibians first, and so if you have an unhappy frog population, you know that the area is not going to do well for super long. But I think this is going to be a pretty good pack. It's slightly based off of the Threatened Animals pack by Red Panda Reggie, so thank you to him for having similar ideas. And I didn't rip off all the species, but so I wanted to just put in some of my own. Please let me know what you like about it. I think the Conservation Pack is one of the best packs Planet Zoo ever did. It added a lot of new pieces, and I think a lot of new education pieces could be introduced in this pack. I'm probably going to be taking a break from DLC speculation soon, and I'm going to look at ways that Planet Zoo can improve apart from animals. I've got some really interesting ideas, I think, and I don't know how many of them have been brought up in the past, because I haven't been part of the Planet Zoo community for too long. But I've got some ideas that I think would be really cool to make franchise just a little bit more interesting. So stay tuned for that. Please go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.